do you want to play a fantasy version of Lancer except not really because they aren't exactly the same thing? Welcome to Arken, a tactical fantasy tabletop role-playing game made by Tom Parkinson Morgan, or Abbadon, author of Kill 6 Billion Demons, who somehow made this 165 pages tabletop RPG out of bloody nowhere. Backstory: 8,000 years before present era, everything was fine until the Arken Lords attacked. The Arken Imperium was cruel and decided to destroy everything in the way of its conquest, and ultimately, themselves included. Centuries passed, the world recovered, all of kins lived prosperously in this green age, until goddamn ruins start popping out of the ground, spewing out wealth of arkentech and dust, concentrated magic that works as both currency and fuel, and everyone just went mad with the lust for power and riches. Warbands start rising up, cities eye each other with suspicion, and the once safe roads are now swarmed with bandits. The churning age is about to arrive. In the midst of all this, is you, the icon. You are someone cursed to wield great power that might change the world, pushing back against the churning age, or leaving the green age behind for personal wealth, and how you choose to wield it is up to you. In Arken, you can play as 4 different kins. First there's the Thurn, which are compressed elves that are also very good airship crews and captains due to their ability of basically acting as a living magical anomaly sensor. Some of them even has star marks that glow near strong sources of ether. Then there's the Trog, which are tall people that are so tall age cannot reach them, and that's why they are immortal, spending the rest of their centuries long life in a state of very tall. Some of them believe that the world is made by the Elden Flame. Most of them are pretty good blacksmiths due to their high tolerance of heat, and they might or might not be descendants of titans that once held up the world. Beast folk are animal people. You thought I'm gonna say furry, aren't you? That comes in many different clans like the Lupin, the Garu, the Vodia, and the Lorito. Their heightened sense let them sense the changes of seasons and land easily, which also make them better cooks and picky eaters.
Some good fucking food.
And finally, there's the Zixo, the ultimate life form, the final evolution, and the crystallization of carcinization. The Zixo can become one with the ocean, for about an hour before they start drowning. They also molt every few seasons to destroy gender, and while they only lives half as long as other kins, they have the perfect memory to remember every single little thing about you as well as your weakness. Whatever you pick, and you will pick Zixo. All kins do not have any hidden stat bonus or features that directly impact the game, meaning you do not need to pick kin solely for the racial benefit, unless the benefit is to become as crab. All glory to the crustaceans. Anyway, in Arken, there are 2 forms of play modes for this tabletop RPG, narrative play, and tactical combat, and funny enough, tactical combat is optional. Arken's narrative play should feel very familiar to those that played Blade in the Dark. Each player get a set of action ratings from their selected background and other things, which are basically what they are good at. The more dot you have, the more d6 you can roll when using said action rating. Only the highest number count, and success isn't just clean pass only either. The cost for failure and partial success can be many things, one of which is getting strain, a mental and physical stress taken outside of combat. Getting too much of it will give you burden, which manifests as severe illness, injury, or negative emotion that can outright prevent your character from conducting actions except by pushing themselves harder or receiving aid from others. That sounds bad, but if you invoke burden in a situation to make it worse, you get 1 experience point, so getting burden has some narrative value even if it gets you in worse situations. And other than action ratings, you also have bonds, basically your character's archetype or class that can give you narrative strength in some scenarios, like the Pathfinder, the Harlequin, and the Brave. Each bond can give you access to ideals which give you experience if you fulfill it, narrative power to aid in narrative scenarios, and stress to push harder in an action role, with each bond having different ways to relieve and negate it. There's more in narrative play that I haven't talked about, but I will have to keep it short because it's time to talk about tactical combat. In tactical combat, you will be using a d20 for the attack roll with d6 as boon or curse to add or minus the result. If you have played Lancer, you will be familiar with the system running in Arken very quickly. The number of base actions you can do are smaller but no less important. Arken also runs exclusively in square grid. The game is inspired by Final Fantasy Tactic after all. Most importantly, if you choose to run tactical combat, and I mean why wouldn't you will need a job. In Arken, jobs are categorized into 4 classes: Stalwart, Vagabond, Mendicant, and Knight, which are roughly equal to these fantasy classes, very roughly, as there's no such thing as a standard stalwart job. Every single job is truly unique in their styles and tactical benefits that they can provide. The classes aren't just to categorize the jobs either, They also provide class traits which are shared by all jobs, further strengthening them. Stalwarts are the unbreakable wall, the guardian that protects their allies and stops foes in their track. They have more health than any other classes, and could upgrade their techniques to heroic in the right situation, making it far stronger than normal. Examples include Bastion, shield knight that shields their allies from harm and also knocks the shit out of foes with such a severe level of concussion that I'm not gonna be surprised if part of them ends up being transported into another world. Demon Slayer, which is less Demon Slayer and more Bleach, using the power of edgy anime to cut people with shockwaves by merely swinging their giant sword really hard. And there's the Head Lopper, which is less about lopping heads and more about pulling off dangerous wrestling moves that can both hurt themselves and their foe, but they don't give a shit because they know the world needs to know the glory of Gigantus Crusher. Vagabonds are the blade for hire, the scoundrels that can avoid attack, attention, and move faster than anyone else. They also have the ultimate ability of moving diagonally. Yes, other class cannot do that in Icon at all. You would be surprised how much this limit and open up movement. Vagabonds are also opportunists. An injured foe will quickly find themselves receiving a finishing blow that can truly finish the job. Examples include the Fool, primary cause of death in Arken Eld, who just dance around on the battlefield like it's a theater and do weaponized party tricks with explosives, a lot of explosives. LANCER has the power of
the gun,
running around and fanning hammer at everything, and could even summon an angel just to ricochet around off its face to nail someone at an impossible angle. And the Shade, teleporting assassin that can hide in plain sight, give their victim a chilling sensation before their demise, and leave a shadowy twin behind to always have an escape plan. Mendicants are the healer, the scholars that can heal and bless people, warding off evil and blight, and rescuing people in need, but really, mendicants can be more correctly described as Examples include Harvester, who can bring life to death, and death to life, and also harvest someone's souls out to have a stand battle with it. Sealer, who can give divine blessing to their allies and pacify evil, demon, and anyone stupid enough to stand in your way by punching the shit out of them, reach heaven through violence indeed. And the Seer, in which you need a literal deck of cards to play with to hand out 12 different kinds of effects, bending fate and probability to make it favorable for your party. Rights are the mages, the masters of arcane arts that can levitate over the terrain, conjure shields to block distant attacks, and slowly absorb ether from the environment to supercharge their magic. They even have access to super heavy attack, which requires all their actions and moves to cast for massive damage and effect. Examples include Enochian, which is definitely, 100%, just plain Megaman. The job is all about casting the biggest goddamn explosion even at the cost of their own life, literally. Geomancer, who is just a goddamn earthbender. Literally just earthbender. Seriously, it's all just earthbending.
The boulder!
And the Spellblade, lightning speed magic swordman that can move and cut as fast as electricity, slicing and dicing their foes with shocking power. Don't think these jobs are enough? Embrace multi-class by getting another job of the same class so you can take techniques from there as you level up. You could even have gambits that allows you to take 1 or 2 techniques from a job completely outside of your class and gain some of its class traits too. Heck, if you like a technique so much, improve them with talents, or just master them. Even your limit break, ultimate technique that are rarely used due to how costly they are, can be mastered. Remember what I said about Enochian and how you can cast magic at the literal cost of your life? You can do that with Meteor, master talent version of Gigaflare limit break, so the Enochian can immediately die at the first turn of first round and so is everyone else. Multi-class is totally viable and a fun way to build your character in Icon. There's even relics, magical artifacts that are unlocked at certain levels, giving your character even more bonus traits and effects which can be upgraded with dusts or by completing legendary task. Oh right, forgot to mention that dust is an actual player currency and rewards in Icon, and you can use it to buy many things for your expedition. Expeditions are what sessions in Icon revolve around, where you leave the safety of a village or town and head to the wilderness in search of ruins to explore, artifacts to claim, and faces to beat inward, and only after completion of a goal do you return. During expedition, you might need to take a break to recuperate. This is called camping, and the dust you have earned could be used to upgrade your camping gear, which could include Ether Vault, which let you play the dust investment market to get even more dust, fishing pole, which let you fish dungeon aquatic lifeforms that can be sold for a high price, eat it raw to give you buff, or use it as a magical cannon, and a cooking pot, because what's camping without cooking? And yes, the meal can buff you, it's so fucking good. And what about the enemies? Like Lancer, there are a ton of foes of different scales and different classes, from mobs, to basic foes, and to the truly dangerous and titanic monstrosities. You can even mix and match different classes of foes with templates to further customize them, with each factions having different templates like the Relict, Ruined Beast, Scavenger, Imperial, Demon, Lowlander, Jotun, and possibly many more. Keep in mind one thing however, that foes can be categorized into two parts, kins and monsters. Kins always have a reason to fight, and they will surrender and flee when things go south. They can also be talked out of fighting in the right situations. Monsters however, don't, they do not flee or negotiate, like a mindless beast would. If monsters are intelligent, can bargain, or are characters in their own right, these aren't monsters, they are kins. I very much do not like the concept of evil races, so it's quite pleasant to have this explained in Icon, and by default, when you defeat someone in Icon, you only knock them out. Think of it like some cool fight scenes where nobody really gets hurt despite the sheer level of destruction, so you could only kill someone if you really decided to do it. And that's all I could say about Icon. There's much more but I can't fit all of it in the review. Besides, it's better if you find it out yourself, because it's currently free on itch.io, and it's still being developed, so things I have mentioned could be changed. Hell, the number of jobs aren't even completed yet and more will come for each class. The complete version of Icon will of course, come with a full price, but it's well worth it from what I have seen with the incomplete version already. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed this intro on Icon, and I hope you give it a good read or two. Just check it out, it's so good. That's all for now, and I will see you all next time. Hello there, if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and click that notification bell button. If you really want to support my channel, you could visit my Patreon page, or buy me some coffee, links in the description. Anyway, have a nice day.